Well, hello there. Thank you for joining us for the latest edition of Telile 24/7. I'm your host, Adam Cook. Well, the municipal elections in Nova Scotia are just a few days away, so this week we're going to wrap up our special series of interviews with some of the candidates running in Richmond County. A little later on, we'll speak to District 2 candidate Michael Diggdon, and we're going to St. Peter's to speak to District 4 candidate Amanda Mombourquette. But we'll kick things off right here at the Telile Studios in Arichat by speaking to a brand new candidate for District 1. This is the first time running for Shawn Samson. Let's hear what he has to say right now. Shawn, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me, and thanks to the entire staff at Telile, Becky, Dennis, yourself, and to Cora. For us, it's a great opportunity to put our message out there and for our residents to see what we have to say and to promote what we have to say. So thank you to all of you here at Telile.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah. We're very happy to help out for
Thank
sure.
You. Yeah.
So this is your first campaign, is it? Your first municipal campaign?
Yeah, for sure. It's my first kick at the can. Yeah, so it's interesting for sure. Yeah.
How has it gone so far?
Very well, very well. I've lived here all my life, Adam, so I know everyone on this island. I know everybody in my district, the seniors, the young people, the families, the family trees. I know all these people, so it's been quite easy for me, so to go there and to have discussions with people and sit down. And, my wife laughs, and when I get home and she's like, oh, geez, how many people did you see today? And I'm like, 6 or 7.
No.
I'm like, I joke, I say I'll be ready for 2024, not 2020, right? But I've enjoyed the many conversations and seeing all the people I've seen so far, right? It's been great.
That's terrific. Laying down the groundwork for future campaigns, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, how are you dealing with all of that in these pandemic times? Have you been able to reach out to people and get to them, even though you might not get to the doorstep all that much?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most people, I just stay back. I've put a pamphlet together for everyone. I personally handwritten a message on every pamphlet with their names and wishing them well. And I knock on the door, and if I feel comfortable and they feel comfortable, then for sure I go in and spend some time with them. You can almost tell when they answer the door, Adam, how they're feeling about that situation. And so it's been going well. I've been in many houses, had numerous conversations, and but if they're uncomfortable, then of course I just leave my pamphlet behind and thank them for their time, and my email address and phone numbers on the pamphlet. And if they have any questions, they can reach out to me at any time. Right? So yeah, but it's been going well. Yeah.
After many years in sales, especially in the food industry, you're getting used to selling yourself right now.
Well, I tell everybody, Adam, and I tell all my potential clients when I go on the road and sell for my employer, I tell all my clients this: if I don't sell myself to you, I'll never sell anything to you. So, and I've taken that same approach with my residents. So if they don't buy my platform, if they don't buy my message, if they don't respect Shawn as a counselor, then I won't get their vote. Very much the same as trying to sell, and trying to sell yourself to a customer. Very much the same, right? So,
right on.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about the sales pitch you're giving as Shawn Samson, candidate for District 1 in just a moment. But I want to ask you, before we get to that, what are you hearing when you speak to residents about the issues? What are they saying to you, and what are some of their concerns?
Well, of course, Adam, I mean, it goes back to the scandals and the public backlash and the forensic audits and the firing of some CEOs, and people have a sour taste in their mouth over that situation. And what I'm hearing a lot of is that it's done almost behind closed doors. It's almost done without any public consultation, any public input. It's done where the counselor doesn't go knock on doors and say, this may be our next step. It might cost us this. It might mean this to the community and this to our council and to our county. There's none of that, and that's what's discouraging to a lot of people, right? And that's been part of my platform: more public consultation, more public input. Reach out to the people. I say it's not my district; it's our district. It's not my vote; it's our vote, right? I'm not there to rule our district. I'm there to represent it and represent the whole community, right?
So what are some ways that you feel that you can do that and you can change the current climate around the municipal council here in Richmond County?
I mean, for me, like I said at the forum, we can't stop campaigning after the election. for the next 4 years, we got to keep campaigning. We got to promote ourselves and our ideas to council. And we got to work together. And we also got to promote our ideas and ourselves to the public and to our residents and to everybody in Richmond County. For me, again, I talked about town halls, quarterly town hall meetings. So I'll book the hall in Little Anse. I'll book the hall in Peterborough. I'll book the Picasso. I'll book the New Horizons Senior Club every 3 months or so. Maybe I sit there by myself, Adam, or maybe there's an abundance of people that show up that want to talk and have issues and want to resolve some issues, and maybe they have plans for the county. Maybe they have some ideas for the county. That's what's going to move us forward as a group. Public consultation, public input, quarterly town halls, and letting the people have a voice. They're going to have a voice October 17th. Why not let them have a voice for the 4 years that we're around the council table?
All 365 days of the year they have a voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You might be interested to know that the day after that candidates forum here at Telile, when you said that about never stopping campaigning,
Yeah.
I was interviewing District 3 candidate Melanie Samson in Lewisdale, and
Yes.
she brought that up, and
Yes.
she mentioned you by name. So it looks
Yes.
like you're already making an impact on your fellow candidates.
Yes.
Do you think that the message is getting through to the people in District 1? Are you getting a receptive welcome on the doorsteps, or when you speak to people about whether they should vote for you?
Very much so, Adam. Yeah, and it was very good of Melanie to share my message and to say that that's a great idea on Shawn's part, and he put it well, and people are accepting that message, and the fact that I'm going to go knock on doors after I'm elected. I've had one person tell me, "Gee, Shawn, you're here. Maybe you're not going to be here anymore in 4 years' time, or for the next 4 years you won't." And my promise to them, Adam, was this: I said, if I'm not going to be here one time in 4 years, I'm not coming back. That's my promise to you. I will know I did you wrong. I will know I proved you right by not coming back here in numerous times within my 4-year term, and I'd be too embarrassed to show back up. So no, I'm going to be knocking on doorsteps after the election. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
All right. I want to ask you as well, what are some of the other issues do you feel need to be addressed within District 1 in particular, and maybe Richmond County as a whole? What are some of the priority items for you? If Shawn Samson wins District 1 and he's sworn in, what are the day 1, day 2 priorities for you?
For me, it's always been tourism, always, and the seniors. The self-isolation that seniors face today, some of them don't have internet, some of them, live in rural areas, so they're facing social isolation. We have to reach out to these people. We have to better communicate with these people. When it comes to tourism, I grew up going to the campsite, swimming in the campsite lake. All the lots were full at them. Campers, RVs, the cottages were full. People were all over that place for years, and it hasn't been replaced in 25 or 30 years, and for me, being dependent on rural communities with my job, Lunenburg, Mahone Bay, Shetty Camp, Badek, Cavendish PEI, all these places have destinations for people to stay, and unfortunately Almadam doesn't, and to me that's got to be a top priority, right? So tourism, seniors, engaging with seniors, right? So those would be priorities for sure.
I've asked a couple of people in terms of tourism for Almadam, does it feel like Almadam has to put in almost double the effort that a lot of other tourism locations would, because drivers coming through Richmond County have to make that conscious choice to turn off, right, and to take the off-ramp and to go right to Almadam as opposed to it being on the way to someplace else. So right, is that part of the strategy for you, to make Almadam a destination as opposed to an afterthought?
That's right, exactly, for sure. You have to give people a reason to get off exit 46 off the Highway 104. You have to. Once you get them off exit 46 and across the Lennox Passage Bridge, that's where the work begins. You have to give them time to stay here. I've always said, Adam, that retention is just as important, if not more important, than procurement. If you're going to gain one thing and lose two, you're falling behind. So if you're going to get a tourist on this island and lose him within a couple of hours of him being here, you're not doing yourself any good. Yeah. You're not doing Almadam any good. We have to give these people reasons to stay here for 3-4 days, a week, whatever it takes. But you have to give them options for destinations. You have to give them options for retention. And that needs to be a key for Almadam for sure, yeah.
Right. We're coming into the home stretch of this interview, and I want to ask you a question that I have asked all the other candidates that I've spoken to over the course of this election. Who has inspired you and who has motivated you both in the current moment and over the years in terms of wanting to serve the public? Yeah. Who are the one or two people that you would turn to either personally or in spirit that guide you in times like this?
Yeah. For me, Adam, it's hard to pinpoint just one person. The first people I would look at would be my family. I've been brought up by two great parents. I've had two great sisters, and I've been brought up to be respectful and be integral, be honest, support your community, be a community-minded person, be a leader in your community. So I would say my family first and foremost. When it comes to my sales industry, I've had so many great co-workers that have helped me in my sales career, some sales managers, in the past 15, 20 years, great people, and I would point at them. But for me, it comes down to one thing, and it's not someone, it's something. And for me, it's my community. The love and pride I feel for this community, the fact that I've lived here all my life, the fact that I want every kid that wants to stay on this island to have that opportunity. That's why I'm here, Adam. And in 20 years' time, if I can look back and say I made a difference, and some of these young kids are still here today, then I've done my job. So yeah.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground in a short time, and I figured that would be the case, Shawn.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in, but I want to ask you, is there anything else you'd like to add about all of this or about the campaign just before we wrap up?
No, I just want to thank the people of District 1. They've been receptive. They've been good to me, invited me into their homes. We've had numerous good conversations. I've loved seeing them all. Hopefully, I'll see them more in the next 4 years, and I just want to thank everybody. So, pour tout le monde, je vous remercie pour toutes les discussions puis toutes les visites. Je vous souhaite toute la bonne santé puis la joie. Et merci pour tout.
Je voudrais vous remercier pour parler ici à Telile ce matin. Thank you very much for coming in, Shawn, and speaking to us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks again to the staff at Telile. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, our pleasure. Shawn Samson is a candidate for District 1 in the municipal elections taking place this weekend in Richmond County. Stay tuned for more Telile 24/7 in just a moment. District 4, which takes in St. Peter's, River Bourgeois, and the surrounding communities, is providing one of the most interesting races in the Richmond County municipal elections this time around. 12-year council veteran Gilbert Boucher is facing off against newcomer Amanda Mombourquette. She is the former executive director of the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce and has served for many years on the board of the Village on the Canal Association. I caught up with Amanda Mombourquette in St. Peter's recently. Here's that interview right now. From the Bredora Lakes Inn in St. Peter's, we're pleased to welcome District 2 candidate Amanda Mombourquette to Telile 24/7. Amanda, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Adam.
You're in the home stretch of the municipal election campaign, so the first question I have for you is, how do you feel the campaign has gone?
Yeah, I think things are going really well. I have to say, there's been lots of great response from people when I'm knocking on doors and having conversations, and I've got some great signage out. Was designed locally here in town, and it's been just overwhelming the amount of support. I ran out of signs twice now, so so it's been a really fantastic response from the community. I have to say that it's been fantastic also to have local media so interested in ensuring that all candidates have an opportunity to be heard, because it's not possible sometimes to knock on everybody's door, and so I think this is really important, especially for folks who may not be able to get out to events. Some of our seniors, some of our folks with compromised immune systems. This kind of thing really helps them ensure that they can stay connected to the process and be aware of what people are all about, and helps them make the decision to cast their vote on voting day.
I'm curious, is this your first time running for active politics?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Have you found the campaigning experience to be different from what you expected, or has everything pretty much gone according to plan in this municipal election campaign for you?
I think things are a little different than what I expected, but I think that's primarily because of the global pandemic situation that we're in right now. You know, the way that we connect with people in a normal circumstance. I would love to have been hosting some open houses in the various communities that are part of this district. You know, things like that really are off the table right now, and so it eliminates some of your opportunities to connect with people and find out what's important to them. You know, and even making the decision to do door-to-door visits. You know, you're always wearing your mask, you're sanitizing your hands, you're knocking on doors, keeping your social distance. So I mean, a lot of times it's very weather dependent. You know, and on days like today where the rain is falling, it's, you know, that can be a real challenge. So it slows things down a bit. But I have to say, other than that, things have really, you know, have really gone extremely well.
Amanda, what made you decide to run for active politics at this point of your life and at this point of your career? What really tipped the scales for you?
Yeah, well, I think a couple of things. So I guess I would first mention my experience working at the Chamber of Commerce and being so immersed in working on advocacy issues for the almost 400 members of that chamber. You know, obviously mostly on business matters, but it really gave me a taste for what it, you know, for what it would be like to be, you know, working to make the lives of businesses or citizens better by influencing government policy and by being in, you know, in circles where the decision makers are. So that definitely had a lot to do with it. I think once I left the chamber and assumed my role at the community college, it gave me sort of you know, I was entering an environment that is very supportive of people who are interested in you know, public service, and so that to me was also a bit of a tipping point. And I have to say, you know, politics has been on the back of my mind for a long, long time because I've always been involved in my community, and when you're involved in your community, it exposes you to you know, to municipal, provincial, and federal decision makers in a different way. And so it really has been in the back of my mind for some time. Probably the catalyst for me was, you know, maybe around the Women's Leadership School and knowing that was coming up, and I felt with the advent of that idea that there'd be a really strong support network there for women entering politics, and that gave me some great confidence. And of course, when Richmond County decided to not support that school, it sort of galvanized me, I guess, a little bit in my approach. And I understand the reasons why that decision was made, but I guess from my perspective, I would have made a different decision, and so I wanted to have my voice heard at the table. I think it's important to have gender balance at that table at the municipal council, and so yeah, I guess in previous conversations I've kind of summed it up by saying, what if the voice of a woman can make a difference at the table, and what if my voice can make a difference? And so that's why I jumped in the fray.
You mentioned your years as executive director of the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce, and of course before that you spent many years as one of the key people with the Strait Highlands Regional Development Agency. Do you feel that your experiences working with everybody from small businesses to festival organizers during these years has given you a collaborative approach that you think would work well at the Richmond Municipal Council chambers?
Yeah, and it's a great question, Adam, and it really has prepared me. I think it's been in my nature since day one to want to work together with people. It's for me, being in a room with people and creating something or making something wonderful happen. I get energized by that kind of thing, and so collaboration is sort of second nature to me. Certainly, when you're trying to lift large projects, and I think of some of the work that I did while I was at the Strait Highlands RDA. But also when I was working in entrepreneurship education at SEED and in Halifax, and then at the Chamber, you start to see the impact of what happens when you gather people who have different ideas. Your initial concept, sort of expands from small to very large very quickly, and it becomes more inclusive and more effective. So I'm a big fan of surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me. So I tend to make that a priority whenever I'm embarking on something new. This campaign campaign has been no different, and certainly at Municipal Council it will absolutely be no different as well.
So what are you hearing on the campaign trail? What concerns and issues are District 4 voters bringing to you when you're able to connect with them?
Yeah, so there's a long list. There's a very long list of things that I've chatted with people, but I think, if I wanted to sum it up, some of the key priorities that are coming out, and I know that's not unique to District 4, but access to high-speed internet access continues to plague our community. And it's not just an economic development issue. We can attract more businesses here if we have better internet. It absolutely is that, but that's not the whole story. The whole story is that certainly in this pandemic, we have seen what happens when you have that kind of digital divide. People who are needing to access learning opportunities, students, post-secondary students, whoever it is, they're limited in what they can access through online learning by the speed of their internet connection, and that's, it's a real challenge. And you've also heard people talk about it as a safety issue. If you don't have, internet or cellular service in a certain area and a disaster happens, and we have seen that happen in this county, it poses a real safety issue. And so that's absolutely been on the minds of residents here as I've been talking to them. I would say, and of course roads continues to be, a problem, and the state of our roads. But honestly, I would say another chief priority would be around access to our healthcare. People are worried about Straight Richmond Hospital. They're worried about the Kingston Health Centre. They're worried about physician recruitment. So, it's been really great to be able to talk to folks about physician and other healthcare professional recruitment and explain about the work that the Cape Breton South Recruiting for Health Committee has been doing, because we've been getting some media attention, but we're not exactly a household name yet, and we want more people to be aware. We want more people to be engaged, because that will make us stronger in our ability to attract and retain new healthcare professionals here. So, yeah.
Now, how do those concerns line up with your own priorities as a candidate? On day 1 or day 2, after Amanda Mombourquette is sworn in as District 4 councillor, what is she going to be looking at for her first priorities?
Yeah, so the top priority for me is that I think, to a certain extent, we do need to get our house in order and work on our accountability and transparency with the public. I know that some folks are really pleased with how things have been going so far, but many are not, and I think there's more we could be doing. And I would just say that there's always room for improvement. It doesn't matter how great a job you're doing at that, there's always going to be room for improvement, and to figure out what is reasonable, what is achievable in terms of making that happen. I'd like to see things like question period come back to council. That's critical for, in my opinion, to make that happen. I'd like to see more members of the public become engaged on committees of council, so that they know, they're not just feel, but they know they are part of the solution to the challenges we're facing in this county. I think we could be doing a better job of engaging our citizenry. And also, I think we could be doing a better job of engaging with our community groups. There are hundreds of brilliant volunteers across this county, specifically in it to make it a better place. That's the motivation. And I just think we should be supporting them at every turn. And I have said this before, I will say it again, it's not just about giving away grants and donations, it's also about asking folks, how else can we support you in what you're doing? Because the municipality has resources and we all have connections. So how do we tie that all together into making some great things happen here?
Amanda, you were one of 10 people taking part in the Richmond Candidates Forum at our Telile studios on Monday, October the 5th. What kind of sense did you get about the future of Richmond County and the future of Richmond Municipal Council from listening to some of what the other candidates had to say on that night at Telile?
I was really pleased with how that forum went. I have to say right off the bat, it was, it's difficult. There are 10 candidates who showed up for that opportunity to speak to the public, and that's a lot of people to be asking these questions of. But at the end of it, I kind of felt like I was very privileged to be in a room with that many people who had the best interests of the county at heart. and there was no question at the end of it that was the message I got for sure. So I felt very fortunate to be there, and I think there's a great cross section. It's nice to see women in the room. It's nice to see young people in the room. It's nice to see people with experience in the room. So I'm really hopeful that we'll end up with a council at the end of this that can work together as a team, that brings different strengths to the table, and can really start to get things done. Dust off that strategic plan. Let's set some priorities, tweak what we need to tweak, and get some progress going.
My last question to you, Amanda, is one I've asked all the candidates I've been interviewing for Telile 24/7. Who inspires you, not just in this particular municipal election campaign, but who has inspired you to continue with public service at various points of your life?
So that's an interesting question, and there's only really one answer for me, and it's the women in my life. The women in my life have tended to be leaders. They take leadership positions in their families. My grandmother ran a business in Sampsonville for I think about 25 years. Burke's grocery store, and it was the hot spot in that community. And I can still remember the credit books because people wouldn't get paid until a certain date, and so she'd keep their credit and the little carbon copy books. That I look back at what she did in that tiny little community, and I think that's an inspiration. I look at my mom, who worked for years here in this community, and then when I was about 10, decided she was going to go and get a university degree. I mean, how risky a decision was that? And it paid off for her in spades, and she's spent a wonderful career with the federal government. And now I look at my daughter Julia, and off she goes to finish her final year of university in the middle of a pandemic, and just puts her head down and is just getting it done. So there's, I don't have to look too far to find inspiration and motivation in my family, but honestly, it's been with me since day one, and I'm very fortunate to have those inspirational women around me.
We've covered a lot of ground in just a short time in this interview, Amanda. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the campaign or any other issues just before we wrap things up here today?
Regardless of the outcome of this election, I would encourage people to get out and vote. It's important, and you're voting at a municipal level, and in many ways municipalities are the level of government that citizens interact with the most. So it's important that you choose who your leaders are going to be. And the other thing I would say is that if I am the successful candidate, don't feel like if you didn't vote for me that you can't reach out, because I think if I'm elected, I will be representing everyone, and I absolutely want to hear from you about what your concerns are. I am an approachable person. I have committed to be responsive to folks, and I want to hear from everybody that has an idea to share or a concern to share. So, yeah.
There's a three-way race for District 2 serving several sections of Isle Madame. Along with former councillor Jerry Bork and newcomer Carolyn Clackdoyle, Michael Diggdon is hoping to be able to make his first run for council a successful one. I spoke to Michael Diggdon here at the Telile studios. Here's that interview right now. Joining us now in the Telile studios is District 2 candidate for Richmond County, Michael Diggdon. Michael, thank you for joining us today on Telile 24/7.
Thank you, Adam. It's been a pleasure to come here again and share my thoughts and views with the county.
Good to have you here, and I wanted to begin by asking you, as we head into the home stretch of this municipal campaign, how has the campaign been going for you this year?
It's great. I have a lot of supporters on all sides, and all of Richmond County. People that are pushing me, people that are encouraging me to move ahead. And again, my big thing is door to door. I know with the COVID, a lot of people held off and were scared to go door to door. I took a different approach. I felt that, if our kids can go back to school, if our hospitals and our seniors' homes were opening up their visitation to certain people, then I was okay going door to door. And I've only had maybe one at all the constituents that I've ran into that was a little reluctant for me getting, anywhere within the 6 6-foot distance. Otherwise, I've been invited into people's homes, you know, for tea, for coffee, for lunches, and it's been great. The experience has been incredible.
So you've got to have all kinds of conversations with voters around Isle-Madame for District 2. So can you tell me a little bit about what they're saying to you? What are some of the big issues and concerns that they're talking about in this election and bringing to you as you come and knock on their doors?
Well, I think like the rest of the candidates, they're all of Richmond County is in the same predicament. You know, we're looking for tourism. We're looking for, you know, better internet service. You know, our healthcare has to be looked at, I guess. You know, our St. Anne Center, stuff like that has to be all addressed. For me personally, you know, I explained to everybody that I went to their door. I guess number one on my agenda, you know, it was cleaning up inside the house. I guess I said it best, or you know, refacing Richmond County. Right now, I considered Richmond County. You know, we become not an embarrassment, because I would never want to think of my home as an embarrassment, but we just got defaced a little bit, and I think it's time to take that pride back. And you know, everybody has issues all around the county. I think one of the big ones that I felt that really hit home or really stuck with me was the senior living and low affordable housing. I have to say, like, you know, we really have to look and dedicate time and interest and money into, you know, our seniors are the pillar of our community. They really are, and they've made it to a plateau in their life where they should be taken care of, and we're missing that boat. We really are. You know, I feel strongly that, and not just seniors. Don't get me wrong. We have people between the ages of 40 to 65 that require low-income housing as well. So we have to open that up to these people. And again, like I say, tourism is huge, and we're missing the boat on that. And I think we got to. I think the objective is just to work together, to you know, sit down, you know, take everybody's views into consideration, and come up with a good business plan and put it into.
So I'm wondering, is it your desire to see some of these issues taken care of that led you to run at this specific time? I mean, it's an unusual time for this district. Longtime councillor Alvin Martel has announced his retirement, so that opens it up to a potential new face. But what do you think really led you to decide this is the year for me, this is the year Michael Diggdon is a candidate?
I think dedication and time. I think if you're going to put yourself forward in this position, you have to be able to dedicate your time, your knowledge, your experience, put it all into one, and you have to be a team player. You have to be willing to work with others. Excuse me. You have to, you have to put, I guess, everything in perspective, and then make sure you can dedicate at least the next 4 years into the people. You know, I've lived here my whole life. I'm involved in so many issues, not so many issues, I guess in so many things, you know, baseball, hockey, fire departments, community centers, and I do an incredible amount for the people of my community and outside my community. You know, I believe in helping others that can't help themselves, and I believe that everybody at some point needs a helping hand, and it's just something that I do, and I feel this time, at this stage of my life, it's a great time for me to step up. And, you know, our county, you know, was obviously hurting and is hurting, and I feel that it's a great time for me to get in there and be part of a team.
Now, you talked a little bit about your community experience. I know you're the president of the Isle-Madame Volunteer Fire Department,
yep,
and also of the Acadiaville Community Club in your community of West Arishat.
Correct.
You've been involved for years with the Straight Richmond Minor Hockey Association, coaching baseball as well, and as an umpire. I'm only half joking when I ask, does Richmond County need an umpire at this point? But on a serious note, do you feel that your experience in working with teams, literally and figuratively, is what Richmond County needs right now and what you feel you can bring to the table?
Oh, 100%. You know, to go back on the hockey, I'm the, I guess, referee-in-chief for minor hockey, and from the Straight area right down into Richmond. So I have probably 30 officials that I have to look out for. help train, make sure they get to the next level, and give them what's required to move on. The county is no different. I can bring, I definitely can and will bring that team aspect to the table. It's not so much, it's not a game, and I wouldn't want anybody to make reference or make the mistake that, I'm treating like the County of Richmond like a hockey game. But I do treat the County of Richmond the same as I would treat a hockey game, and that's with fairness. I don't believe in picking sides. I don't believe in having favorites, and I believe every single voice and every single constituent has the right to be heard and should be heard. I personally don't care how much money you have or how little money you have. It doesn't bother me that you live in a mansion or you live in a tent. My deal is to represent you to the best of my ability, and that's what I will do.
Now, we don't want to extend the hockey metaphor too far, but the puck is going to drop on a new council very soon. Election day, of course, is this Saturday. So, if you are successful in the three-person race in District 2, and it does wind up that Michael Diggdon is the new councillor, what is Councillor Diggdon's day one or day two priorities? What are the very first things you would want to tackle once you're sworn in?
So, first off, I'd like to change that if I am successful to, and I say this all the time, and somebody says, you're awful cocky, and I was like, actually, no, I'm awful confident. So I'd like to go with the when you are successful on Saturday. I think one of the first thing that has to be done is, honestly, is to send appreciation. I'm going to send it now in case people misjudge it or whatever, and that's the appreciation for everybody allowing me to take the time, or giving me their time, I guess, on every door that I knocked on and listening to my views and what I would like to do for the county. So in the event that I guess I don't become successful, then I will say, thank you either way for taking your time out of your day and listening to me. I believe one of the first steps that we have to do, again, is, the first thing we'll have to do is find out who all made it to the round table, I guess, or the oval table, and meet. I mean, the county doesn't stop, and things won't shut down because it's 5 new councillors. But again, we have to look at our agenda and set up our plan and kind of go from there.
All right. Well, we'll see how that all comes together. In the meantime, I just had one more question, and I've been asking this of all the council candidates I've been interviewing for Telile 24/7. Everybody has someone that's inspired them over the course of their lives, someone who has really been a mentor or really given them some inspiration in terms of leadership and public service. Who are those people for you? Are there any one or two person that you think through your life, or even just in the present day, that really keeps you going when you're out on the campaign trail?
I could probably pick so many. I guess if I had to narrow it down to, to one or two, I would definitely have to go with my parents. I can pick lots of people who guided me through life and, give me some grounds and some knowledge to get to where I'm at today. But I guess my parents have been the biggest supporter of my whole career, my whole life. They've never judged me. If I've fallen, they were right there to help me get back up. They've always encouraged me, and for that reason, I guess, my dad owns the business he does for so long because of who he is, and he set me on the same track. I believe in several things. One is respect is earned, not given, and I believe that I've earned the respect of many people here in the island, and vice versa. I have their respect at hand, and the other is trust. And trust you have to work towards, and that's some of the key points and values that my parents instilled in me. And I guess right now is I just need the people to put their trust in me, and then I can do the same.
All right. Well, we certainly hope for the best for you and wish you good luck as you head towards the final few days. We've covered a lot of ground here in a short time, Michael, and I do appreciate you coming in and talking to me here. Is there anything else you'd like to add about all of this, or any other thoughts about the campaign just before we wrap up?
No, I guess to go back, it's kind of funny you asked me, excuse me, what people said door to door, and I was talking to several of the other candidates, and I said, honestly, what I've been hearing door to door is people aren't only interested in their own district, they're interested in all of Richmond County. And that's what everybody has to remember, is we're fighting for Richmond County to be a better one, be a better whole, be united. And on that note, I think you're going to see 4 out of 5 probably brand new faces. And it will be interesting and it'll be exciting. I think the next 4 years are going to be challenging, but yet it's, you know, you set your goals, you work towards them, and you complete them, and then you set your next goal. And when that happens, then you'll see everybody end up with great council.
That's a good note on which to wrap this up. So thank you again, Michael Diggdon, for coming in and joining us on Telile 24/7 today.
Thank you, Adam, and thank Telile very much for giving me this opportunity, and I'm sure giving everybody else the opportunity to speak their mind.
It's been our pleasure. Michael Diggdon is in a 3-person race for Richmond County's Municipal District 2. And that wraps up this week's edition of Telile 24/7. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, and I'd like to thank my interview guests this week as well. And a special thank you to Nick Boudreau and Becky Borono for all their hard work at the Telile Studios in Arishat to help me get these interviews finished up and to get the shows ready every week. Don't forget that you can comment about anything you see here on Telile 24/7, and you can let us know your ideas for future stories, interviews, and field reports. You can get in touch with me personally. That number is 902-625-8863. You can email me at adamjrcook, cook with an E, at gmail.com. And you can also contact Telile directly. The number for the station is 902-226-1928. And you can reach Telile by email. The address is telile@telile.tv. Don't forget to follow Telile on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as YouTube. And on the YouTube channel, you can get every single episode of Telile 24/7, including this one, as well as our Candidates Forum that we held for Richmond County, and a Meet the Candidate segment that introduces you to several of the people running in Richmond County this time around. I'm Adam Cook, and it's been a pleasure for me to have you with me this week. Thank you for tuning in to Telile 24/7. I'll look forward to seeing you next time around with a wrap-up of how things worked for the municipal elections in Richmond County, Port Hawkesbury, and Mulgrave. Don't forget, get out and vote if you haven't done so already. Take care, and we'll see you next time.